So I will get started. So the agenda today is some introductions. There's not so many of us, so I'll do actually a quick question to all of you, what your interest is. And then I'll tell you about who else is on the call. And then a little bit, who is DayOne for some of you who don't know us. A little bit why the DayOne Accelerator, what we provide, and then who should apply and how do you apply. So relatively quickly through the first bit and then hopefully answering questions on the last bit. So let's do some quick introductions. So we have Cordelia and Sandra on the call. Cordelia is able to introduce herself. Cordelia, do you want to briefly introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. I'm sorry for my wrong description at the bottom of my picture. I'm dialing in from Diabetes Center Bern and working there for innovation, meaning scanning the market for new opportunities and to support people like you with services and access to pay, keeping people living with diabetes. And we are happy to join forces together with you and your team with DayOne. I'm happy to answer all your questions.
Great. And Doug Hagstrom is my name. I run the DayOne Accelerator, and Sandra is also on the line, who will help him with any technical questions or anything. So reach out to Sandra if there are any problems. And you can give us a wave if you like, Sandra. So and a little bit of what DayOne is. So that all makes sense. So the first one is DayOne. DayOne is the company that I work for, and we're part of Basel Area Business and Innovation. And we're the healthcare innovation vertical within Basel Area Business and Innovation. And our goal within that vertical is to think about how together with innovators, through collaboration and partnerships, we can build an ecosystem that can solve problems in healthcare and deliver better solutions. So we try and do a number of things across that, in that goal. So this is the wheel which describes the different things we do. The center of that is really the network, so the connecting between people. We also do events to make sure that we're making those connections. We run specific projects to try and bring together collaborative partners on a specific problem. And we run an accelerator program, which is one of the ways that we help young companies and startups to grow through connections. And we'll go into more detail, obviously, on that. The other thing we do is we have a physical workspace to collaborate. So I'm actually here on the Nevada's campus where we have that physical space. And the last thing we do is bring companies to the Basel region to help them make connections there. So they're the 6 things we do as DayOne. We do it, as I said, in a collaboration. So we have knowledge partners and supporting partners who are, who help us to find the right experts and provide support during the year. So that's a little bit on DayOne. So the accelerator, another bloody accelerator. That's one of the questions I get, because you look around and there's lots of different things called acceleration, incubation, and you know, why should there be another one? And that's, I think, a good question and something that everyone should be asking. And the reason that why I think that we're needed is digital health. This is the Lego guy from the Lego movie. Everything's awesome. Digital health is going to be awesome. It is going to have a fundamental impact on healthcare. And we're already seeing some evidence of this happening, and there are companies that are successful. But the path to market is not this linear discovery, preclinical, phase 1 that biotech is. that isn't how we're seeing digital health develop. It's not a drug, and it's also not really a device. A device, I feel a bit sensitive with Philip on the call, but a device is in some ways sort of still relatively simple in terms of what to do. Whereas the way when you see the digital health journey, it's going to be much more convoluted. We're trying to work this out and build an industry as we go along. Business models aren't clear. Is there value? Is there not? How do we validate things? That's still in development as an industry. So I think it'll be awesome. It's hard to do. So therefore, that's great. So we need to have something, but why do we think that we can make a difference? So what we think we can help with is helping as an accelerator make sure that your solution is actually needed. Do the patients, the doctors, or maybe the administrator of the hospital need your solution? Is it solving a real problem? And the other is, are you doing it collaboratively? Are we making sure that all the pieces of the puzzle, from reimbursement through to technology integration, actually fit together and work? And disciplined. Just because we don't quite know what the pathway is, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have structure and try and do things in a disciplined fashion. So that's what we're trying to do within the accelerator. And we provide 5 sources of value during the accelerator program. The first is an amount of non-dilutive funding. But importantly, that is not just cash when that's possible. It's not always possible, but it's actually, let's see how we can develop a funding program for you. So it's not just the cash, but how do we fund you? We also provide you access to the ecosystem. So make sure that you're connected to the right places and people that can help you. We provide tailored coaching and workshops, and we support you getting access to your customers, who are really the most important part of the ecosystem. And we provide a physical collaborative space, which is on some days relevant. A day like today feels maybe less relevant. I think we may be doing things virtually for a long time. So a word on the program, we'll be doing most of the program virtually. Historically, there's been a lot of value in all of the ventures being in Basel. That's a little bit harder now. We will make it possible to do a lot of it virtually, but we will be working out exactly what that connection to Basel is as the program gets a bit closer. So in terms of a question around the curriculum, we look at curriculum. We have a series of workshops which we've now run that looks at, what are we doing to build the team? What are we doing to help that team get funded? And then what are we doing around the business model to test that? And what are we doing to help to build the product? And they're the sort of different pieces that go into you developing as a venture. And when I say we, I mean these people. Egle is one of the coaches. We have a number of other coaches who have a mix of skills. So some of it's design thinking, customer focused, can be funding. Adrian is a connection into experts around things like regulatory questions, legal, etc. Geary is a doctorpreneur, and Hans Peter has an extensive experience in pharma and also bringing products to market. So there's a mix of things. And then we try and make those connections to the knowledge partners that exist and are supported in the delivery of the program by various people who we bring in to deliver workshops and provide expertise and other resources to you. So we try and bring that group and ecosystem around whatever it is that you need. Here are some of the past winners. That's also available on the website. We've taken mostly relatively early stage companies that have, from the need idea to proof of concept stage. And, a few of these are in the process of closing seed rounds, and that's mostly what they are. Nool came to us, and they were already a well-funded South Korean startup. What we actually did was help them think about their market entry into Europe. So there's a few different things we do, but generally relatively early startups is the people that we're supporting. So who should apply? We're interested in entrepreneurs, startups, doctorpreneurs, intrapreneurs. If you're within a company today and you have an idea and you're not quite sure, we're happy to bring you along and provide support, as long as you're happy to share that knowledge outside the company. We're looking for people that combine technology, healthcare expertise, and entrepreneurial spirit. And we try and support you in developing a diverse team. What do we expect you to do? Build solutions that are patient-centric and scalable. So that's the kind of things that we're going to be looking for when we assess you. And then what are the problems that we'd like you to solve? That's value-based healthcare, diabetes and metabolism, and patient-centric or patient-led innovation are the things that we're interested in this year. And we'll now talk a little bit about some of those things in detail. Here is the call for diabetes and metabolism. I won't read it out. It's available on the website. What I would do though, and what I will do is ask Cordelia to sort of explain the thinking behind the call and what are you looking for?
Yes, with pleasure. Thank you, Doc, for the introduction. So Diabetes Center Bern is basically a research institute, and we are following the as called translational medicine approach. So we aim at bringing solutions to the market as fast and also as sustainable as possible, from the labs to clinics out to the market, to the patients, and not only patients. Many people living with diabetes, they can live their lives, of course, with challenges. And many people living with diabetes, they are not patients, and they also like to avoid that kind of word. So what we can offer here with our close collaboration to the diabetology department of the Inselspital, so the University Hospital in Bern, as well as a close collaboration to the University of Bern, we have access to patients. It's not an exclusive collaboration, so we are very open to collaborate with other universities, university hospitals as well. Here we have a cooperation next door to the Inselspital. We have our facilities here, lab spaces, office spaces, workspaces, and we can offer services such as, let's say you are a funder, a startup having a great idea, an application, and you need clinical evidence for your registration and MDR process. So we have professionals here, our network then can support you, and we can also support you with funding. First, there is the accelerator itself that we support for selected startups. And afterwards, there is the possibility based on your project and our strategic sweet spot to support you further with seed money and Series A money. So that's basically what Diabetes Center Bern is doing. And we are looking forward to technologies that help facilitate lives of people living with diabetes. It can be educational support, raising awareness support for the beloved ones. Currently, we are mainly focusing on technology for the diabetes management, but always open for new ideas and also open to learn what's out there and what are the unmet needs that we could address together with you. And I'm open for questions or whatever you wish to share. Now it's the time.
Great. So just the offer. So what do you actually get for the people who are selected in the diabetes and metabolism theme for the accelerator is the normal accelerator program, and then access to all of those facilities and connections and things that Cordelia mentioned. So that's the diabetes and metabolism offer. I'd like to just keep going and we talk about value-based healthcare, and then we can come back and ask more general questions, unless someone has a diabetes question they're burning to ask. All right. So value-based healthcare is the second of the themes. We have actually 3 themes this year. So value-based healthcare is obvious in lots of ways. How do you provide the best possible care to the patient that at the lowest cost? Pretty simple. But it's actually been very hard to do. And actually, what we think is interesting is that each of the different players, pharma, healthcare providers, payers, all need to come together if value-based healthcare is going to work. And that's very difficult for them all to do. But what we think is actually, if you bring together an entrepreneur into the mix with a particular solution that they would like to work on together, then that experience will lead to learning. They'll learn to collaborate. They'll learn how to implement value-based healthcare, and will also end up with a project that is successful. So that's the idea. We're looking at any technology that can be helping to map the patient journey. So within value-based healthcare, you need to understand the patient journey to then try and improve it. There's lots of people who talk about outcomes, but healthcare costs are very hard. So anything that helps with understanding of that, and then benchmarking of costs and outcomes, and then solutions that promote connection and collaboration around data. So they're quite broad questions. And if you have other thoughts around this bigger goal of how do you improve healthcare, then we'd also be happy for you to talk in that. The way we see this happening is that we've got the medtech and pharma people, we've got the insurer and payers, we've got the providers and patients. And then they've got defined some challenges, and then we'll see from some startups what's actually going to happen. They may have a solution that solves the challenge specifically, or they may have something that's a little bit different, and we'll have an iteration around that. We have 4 partners. We have IQVIA, Roche, and the University Hospital of Basel, and we have another payer, or perhaps 2 payers that'll be joining soon to support that program. So we've got the people at the table thinking about what they need, and then we'll sort of add the entrepreneur to that. In terms of what the entrepreneur can get, it's the standard accelerator program plus up to 30,000 francs in sort of project support to try and do something together with that consortium. So there'll be a defined challenge, and then there'll be money to try and solve that. The last theme we have is patient centricity and patient-led innovation. So one of the things we've done at DayOne is the health hack, which I encourage you to have a look at healthhack.ch, which I'll just put in the chat now. And it is a hackathon where we've taken the challenges of patients and then together with patients tried to work out how to solve them. And we're halfway through that process now. And that will be finished in time for the conference, and they'll be presenting their work there. And this particular theme is the health hack, plus whatever your awesome idea is, that is, you know, particularly patient-centric. And particularly if you're a patient trying to solve your own problems, then that'll be sort of supported there. We're in late negotiations to have a corporate supporter of this theme, which hopefully we'll have, and we'll be able to make that available shortly. But we're really looking forward to sort of seeing those sort of innovations. So in terms of how do you apply, we're currently, this is sort of looking at the whole time frame for application. So we've made a general call around open innovation, and we're inviting people to the conference. So the grey colour is sort of open innovation questions at the conference. And then we have the diabetes and metabolism theme, value-based healthcare, and patient-centric innovation. And at the conference, all of those different things will come together. So we'll have people who are applying for the accelerator on a specific theme. Maybe they're applying on 2 themes, and maybe there are people who just have a great idea and they don't need the accelerator, but they'd like to share and get feedback on their idea. And that's going to happen at the conference on November 12th, which is actually a really valuable part of the accelerator program, in that you can make connections and you know, begin the journey of improvement and growing your journey, your venture even there. So the other thing that's added at that stage is the health hack. Those ideas will also be presented at the conference. And then we will do pitches and do collaborative things around a table. Actually, we won't. This will all be done online. And it's actually going to be really, really great, I think. So we've moved the same design thinking process we've done in previous years to help build ventures online. We're going to be doing the team building before that. So that's why we're asking you to apply already on the 23rd of October, because we need to have selected the shortlist so that we can be presenting them to the conference participants by November 5th at the latest. There's about hopefully 400 people who'll be joining, and will be helping to build and add on your venture. The process will be mapping your journey, which is the same as what we did last year, if any of you know that. It's also a chance for you to make connections, and you'll be working with 5 or 6 people on your solution, and then there'll be more people who'll be voting and helping to build. You'll receive an online summary of what you've done, and it's an opportunity for networking. So that's the conference on November 12th, which is an important part of the selection process. Not because you'll be being ranked on the day, but because it's a chance for you to improve upon your application. So then you make a final application November 20th, and then by the end of November, we will have selected the different accelerator themes. So it's a combination of a selection committee, which comes from our community, plus each of the themes have specific experts who will also give opinions. And then we would offer selected companies a start in January, which will be around, I think, January the 11th. So we'll try and contract in early December and then be ready to go for January. So here are the dates that are key. October 23rd, we close the call. We make a short list until November 5th. November 5th to 12th, a profile of your application will be online, and people will be able to select whether they'd like to work with you during the conference. Then November 12th in the afternoon, there's a conference session where there'll be design thinking exercise. November 20th, final application. November 20th to 27th, we'll do the final review. Selection committee on November 27th, and then early December, we'll get back to you. So that's the key dates. And that's all I had to say. So questions for people? for myself or Cordelia.
Yes, please. May I ask a question?
Yes.
Yes. Is there any limitation to take part from Russia, or we can?
We'd like you to come to Basel. We understand that's a bit difficult right now. We will be doing all of the workshops online. So we'll try and work with you to see how we provide value from a DayOne perspective. Because you're also a diabetes metabolism tool, weren't you? So Cordelia, did you have any thoughts on that for you?
In terms of how to collaborate, or
whether there's any problem for you supporting Anton in Russia if he can't physically come to Bern?
I think it depends on your needs. We've been in contact before, right, Anton?
Yes.
And you know a little bit about your ideas, and it really depends on what you wish to achieve during the accelerator. Do you wish to get access to patients? And I mean, if it's more conceptual in business model kind of things, it's totally feasible in a virtual collaboration setting. As soon as it comes to get in contact with patients, of course, it's a little bit more complicated, but I think in a rather early stage we would find a way. So no, it's for us, it's not an exclusion criteria.
Okay, thank you. Our embassy, Switzerland embassy in Moscow, in Russia, promised me to help us to fly to Switzerland anytime, but it's not so simple as a usual period of time. But we're ready to move. We're ready to fly it if it's necessary to take part. Okay, thank you.
No worries.
I have a question to Douglas.
Yep.
Can you influence the structure? Although you mentioned before convoluted, and that's a reality. If you want to lower costs to the patient, you have to start at the investors level. The pharmaceutical companies in the last few years have attracted hedge funds who have taken on major packages, and they control the costs. They want to use the pharmaceutical company or the health company per se as a tool to fix up their bad investments. And I think this is fairly bad for the pharmaceutical companies. We just look at what's happening in Germany. We have to start at that level. We have to stop investing in research. The hedge funds want to commoditize the industry, want to reduce staff, want to do all sorts of things, which is not moving the industry forward. So what we need is a new business model to get costs down.
Yeah. So what we're trying to do with the value-based healthcare accelerator is bring the different people to the table who can make an influence on those costs where they happen in the healthcare system. Whether we're going to change everything, I don't think so. But I think what we are doing is increasing the amount and the collaboration muscle between pharma, medtech providers, insurers, and that muscle, as it sort of improves, means that you can get to win-win situations across the industry. So, farmers getting enough money for when they provide value. Same for medtech providers. Providers are reducing total costs. Insurers are paying less money. That's the goal.
Yeah. Okay. Then I have also another question about the diabetes. We have tried since years to synthesize compounds, small molecules, large molecules, and we haven't got anywhere. We diabetes 2 mellitus, we have all drugs which work. We can enhance them. And we have, if you look around worldwide, in Asia, we have alternative technologies which could be taken and introduced to the local market here, and even treated in such a way that they can be patented. And this would also, we're working on that already. That would be an interesting area. So the first question then would be, you obviously venture capital focused, and entrepreneurs don't want venture capital be focused. They want to finish off a job, a project, and they don't want to be confused by venture capitalists.
And what's your question? Sorry, I did not.
My question is, would you be ready to look at new business models, at new approaches in that whole field?
Sure. I mean, this is part of our core business beside of research. And we are collaborating with the university as well as with the CITEM Insel School, where we support young entrepreneurs, students, and PhD, etc.
We've done that already. This is already done. And maybe one could look into more clinical trials, but even that we could we look at that topic from a global point of view.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if your question is, are there alternative therapies from other markets that may be of interest?
Yeah.
And
with the modification that we could, the European-like patents, that we could patent it.
Sure. I mean, this is what our research partners are doing every day, learning from other countries, other regions, also from other industry, as well as other disease areas. So really bubble a little bit and to establish collaborations, synergy from other segments, other markets, and other technologies as well. So it's a very valid point to really open up the horizon, and it's part of the translation to really find solution that, did the proof that they work, and not to start again from the very basic research, although this is also an important part. But translation really aims at bringing solutions to the next level, doing iterations and going further to the market. Yeah.
All right. Other questions? I know we now have two anchors joining the call. The first anchor from the Czech Republic. You had a question.
The first anchor.
You had a question via email around.
Yes. It was about the ideas that are accepted in this program, and I think it can be like a follow-up discussion on this, not to go into too many details on. But I think my question was on the validation of ideas. Which type of ideas would be fit for this program?
Yeah, basically there's no limit, and on the other hand, it's crucial that we can see potential and an unmet need in the market, real problems to solve, and a kind of scalability to make sure that your idea will really hit the market and help as many people as possible. So there should be, it should be kind of unique solution and really be a solution for a relevant problem in a market with potential. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of generic answer, I'm aware of that. But we can deep dive afterwards if you wish. So if you don't want to share your ideas right now, or if you maybe not yet, or just let me know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, I think it's why I said to be a separate discussion, because I validated the idea in some regions. I didn't validate on also in other countries. I validated for the Central Eastern European region. And I think that's why I would like to have a separate discussion on it, not to take too much of the time of the other people that have more general questions as opposed to my specific one.
It seems like Doug has left the call, right? Are there any other questions that we could discuss? Here it is again. Here again. Hi, Doug.
Yeah, I have to leave. So goodbye. It was very interesting, this update and the necessary steps to know. So thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Then bye-bye.
All right.
And I have to leave too, so I'm saying goodbye also. Bye.
Great.
Bye.
All right.
So,
Any other last? Thank you for Cordelia for taking over when my laptop just crashed. Any other questions before we finish up?
Just one question, Douglas. When do you plan to do such event again on a face-to-face physical event? In Basel?
We will be doing, we've sort of said not physical until the end of the year, and then we see what happens in terms of largest type events. If you'd like to, have a meeting and have a chat about how we can help you as Basel area, then we can set that up now, if you'd like to chat and talk about that. We'll probably have to social distance, but that's really the only rule.
Good, thank you.
Okay, if that's it, then I would finish the call here. And any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me via email, and be happy to answer them. And looking forward to your applications. Feel free also to share the call. The more interesting applications and interesting people, the better. And also, once you've applied, share the conference with other people, because the more interesting people who are coming to the conference, the more interesting that day will be as well. And again, the conference will be online, so it's possible that you can bring interesting collaborators from anywhere around the world to come to the conference as well. So that's all from me.